Doctor Who returned to our screens at the weekend, and I thought the story was mid at best. There are some questionable things in there, and the one thing that I didn't mention, but I am going to talk about now, and I did tweet about, is the character of Alan. Hello and welcome back to Chat About It, Don't Chat About It with me, Rachel, the Queen of the Woke, as crowned by one of my haters. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel, switch on the notification bell so that you know I am releasing another video. Thank you to everyone who's joined this channel already. I cannot run it without you. I talk about Doctor Who on a Sunday mostly, woke news, TikToks, TV and film. So it's great to have you all here with me. Now I'm going to elaborate on what I mean. I picked up on something the other day with the character of Alan. So I ended up making this tweet here. RTD and Bad Wolf spent all that time harping on about how they needed to change Davros because he was an evil trope, problematic and offensive to wheelchair users. Would they care to comment on why they made Al disabled and put him in a life support system? The reason why I made this tweet was because of what Russell T Davies had said in the past. I was intrigued, even though I didn't elaborate, I was intrigued to see if people would cotton on to that fact of what I was referring to and what the reactions would be. I don't expect them, RTD, that is, and Bad Wolf, to ever reply to this comment, okay? But, you know, not everyone would cottoned on to what I may have been referring to, even though I didn't put it in there. So let's shed some light on this first with what RTD had said. He said this on the BBC Three companion series Doctor Who Unleashed, and I have taken his quotes that were printed in the Radio Times. I will link this below should you wish to read it. This is what he said about Davros. Speaking on new BBC Three companion series Doctor Who Unleashed, Davies said, "We had long conversations about bringing Davros back because he is a fantastic character, but time and society and culture and taste has moved on, and there's a problem with Davros of old in that he's a wheelchair user who is evil, and I had problems with that, and a lot of us on the production team had problems with that, of associating disability with evil, and trust me, there's a very long tradition of this." He's not wrong. There are many tropes within the entertainment industry of how people with disabilities are associated with evil, and it's not just wheelchair users. That's true, and I'm inclined to agree with that statement. I would also say that there are some extremely big tropes of actors who don't have any disability or learning difficulty whatsoever taking on the role of a character that does, especially in this day and age when casting has become much more varied and much more accessible. I don't know if anyone would believe me, but my dissertation for my degree was talking about the representation of actors with disabilities and how they were often overlooked when it came to casting. And this dissertation was way before its time, but what prompted that was the character change of Nessa Rose in Wicked. I'm not blaming people in the past at all, but the world changes, and when the world changes, Doctor Who has to change as well. So we made the choice to bring back the character of Davros without the facial scarring, without the wheelchair, or his support unit, which functions as a wheelchair. I say this is how we see Davros now. This is what he looks like. This is 2023. This is our lens. This is our eye. Things used to be black and white. They're not in black and white anymore. And Davros used to look like that, and he looks like this now. And that we are absolutely standing by. Now, the statement where he does not blame the people of the past at all, you may not be doing that verbally, but have you ever thought that you may be doing that indirectly? Especially when you focus on changing somebody's IP. It used to belong to somebody else, so why are you changing it? That's going to create a lot of issues, because there are people out there who love this show and they are very protective over the character of Davros. The character was created this way. That was supposed to be impactful. There was a reason for it and to why it was created that way. So even if you have the copyright to the character, especially one of Davros, I don't think that IP, the original IP and the original creation should be undone. He certainly didn't have an issue with the character when he brought him back in 2008. However, you can also argue that times have changed as well. Now, he is saying that this character is being changed. This change, I disagree with. It shouldn't happen. If you don't want to use this character in this day and age, then all you have to do is say, we're retiring the character. We're not going to be using it anymore. And funny enough, you might find that the majority of people will actually accept that. I feel like doing what has been done to Davros, or, if they choose to keep it this way, I feel like that undermines the original creation and the original intention as well. That's just my opinion. So you can disagree if you want to. Davies added that Children in Need night felt like the perfect opportunity to debut the reimagined Davros. It's a night where issues of disability or otherness or being excluded from society become right to the front of the conversation. So of all the nights to make this change, I thought it was absolutely vital to do this, and I'm very, very proud of the fact that we have. So that's what he said. They were changing Davros. Davros was now going to be able-bodied instead of just putting their thinking caps on and creating a new villain to be associated with the Daleks instead. So we have on the screen the original form of Davros in the new series, which is Julian Bleach. This is what a lot of the new viewers would be familiar with. And then we also have him on the left in Destination Scarrow, which was the Children in Need special. He's depicted as an able-bodied person. So why is it that Davros is not okay, but then we have this new creation of Al, and this is okay? As you can see, he is skeletal. He's very metallic. His eyes are missing and replaced with a mechanical eye. Davros has a cybernetic eye. He is deformed like Davros, and he is missing the lower half of his body, just like Davros. What is the difference between him and Davros? Some people, of course, will say this is because he has been augmented into a machine and it was his choice, so it was much different, and therefore this would make it acceptable. But you could argue the same for Davros. Whilst Davros never chose to get injured, Davros chooses to live the way that he does. He could have chosen to die, but he chose to live on like this with a machine that keeps him alive. And everything that he does is for the survival of his race. And there have been multiple times where he's died and he's been brought back looking exactly the same. I find it a bit of a double standard that this should be happening with the character of Al. Remember, RTD would have had to have signed off on this appearance. If I wasn't aware of what he had said with regards to the character of Davros, then I probably wouldn't be pulling this up. And I'm not pulling this up for a gotcha moment, okay? Because I think this is conversation that we need to have. I just think it's hypocritical to say that Davros is not acceptable anymore, but the depiction of this character is. I'm more than willing to have conversations about tropes of disability and evil being associated with each other. If you want to erase these common tropes that you're talking about, then I find, though, that you really shouldn't be putting them back in. If Alan had kept his legs, then I wouldn't have thought twice about it. Now, let's take a look at the responses, the quoted responses to my tweet. Please let me know what you think of these. I've tried to pick some varied responses. I try, okay? I know OP doesn't care and they're anti-woke, but I can't really agree with all the quotes saying, but Alan chose this. Disability as a visual shorthand for evil is absolutely a thing. That's correct. So it's weird to see Russell still using it here with the bad eye and Al's missing legs. I love that this person puts a precursor in that I don't care. I find that very interesting because if I didn't care, then I wouldn't post something like this anyway. This person, I believe, though, is correct. It is a bizarre choice to see that it is still being used, and most will say that it is Alan's choice. The visual representation shouldn't have been done this way, in my opinion, though. If you want to paint disability in a good light, and I agree, we need to do that, then this way is not the way forward. You need to bring in new characters. You've got Shirley Bingham, so you can do it. You can do it. This person says, I'm sorry, but this is a bit of a stretch here. While I don't agree with RTD's comment on Davros needing to change, Alan willingly gave up his body to become part of a machine, and it doesn't seem comparable to one of the longest running antagonists who became disabled accidentally. This person picked up on what I was referring to, so full credit to them there. But I'm not talking about whether or not it's comparable in the terms of the character's motives behind it. I'm looking at it as a comparability because of what RTD said about Davros, and then he's gone and depicted a character in the form of Alan as evil with no legs and facial deformity. And I just find it very interesting that this should happen after what he said about Davros. So, yeah. This person said, glad I'm not the only one who realised this. I think even his behaviour spoke to being somewhat OCD, neurodivergent, or having a mental disability of some kind, but that doesn't matter. We got rally against those dastardly incel gamers. They're fair game. Okay, that's interesting. This person has picked up on the same thing that I picked up on, but has perhaps picked up on something else as well that I haven't seen. Question is, did you, the viewer, see this as well? I would be interested to know. This person says, I know they're being bad faith, like their point is that ableist writing is good. Okay, but this is also kind of true. Russell should stop doing this. I don't ever recall saying ableist writing is good in a statement. I don't recall that ever coming out of my mouth. Even though I love the character of Davros, I still have never said that. And no, I'm not doing it in bad faith, because you seem to understand that what I am saying, that Russell shouldn't be doing it. So you get that I am pointing out a double standard. I think they just added this on because they're just saying, I don't agree with this lady, but what she is saying is true. So, you agree with me is what you're trying to say, but you didn't want to be victim to a cancel culture movement. These are not the same. It's implied Davros is disabled due to war injuries. The state of Alan's physical body is a result of his psychology and his obsession with controlling others, especially Belinda, over his own mental well-being. Another person, once again, arguing that these are not the same. Yes, the character circumstances are different. I have acknowledged that. However, this shouldn't be happening. So why is it happening, be it the character's choice or not? I'm all for painting people with disabilities in a good light within entertainment, and I certainly think that people with disabilities should have the right to access and play these good characters. I really do, and I think that is something that is extremely fair. I'm not for changing an IP of an old character that used to belong to someone else because it's believed to be problematic, and telling us that it's problematic and then going and doing something similar with a brand new character who is the villain. I find that very much a pot calling the kettle black moment. Let me know what you think. Chat about it, don't shout about it. Like, share, subscribe to the channel, switch on the notification bells so that you know when I am releasing another video. Thank you very much for watching. I will be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Bye bye.